Ryan?
Along the same lines, I mean, yeah, we just gave a lot of constructive criticism here, but it's easy to forget that this is a long entry, a little long for my taste. It's drawn out a bit much. I think it could have been condensed, but there's a lot of ambition here. There's a lot that they're really trying to do, and you can sense a lot of the way that they're trying to vary it up and the ideas they're trying to explore. And I think they just need to keep at it and get a little more experience in doing that, and what will sell these things and what won't.
Dorkman?
I think that's largely that's one of the main things. Is some of the choreography is like we talked about, it's certainly a cut above. Particularly, the hand-to-hand stuff and everything, but it's just not sold well. I see a lot of punches with like bent elbows and stuff like that, and I'm not really feeling the intent. And again, I think the undercurrent of the very intense and purposeful music really accentuated the feeling of it didn't really feel well practiced. It didn't feel like it was really being sold very well. So I would say, which again may have been a factor of the deadline and injuries and recovery and how much time they necessarily had to do it. But as we talked about. Angles are part of choreography, and while editing is not exactly part of choreography, what you choose to show and what you don't is an important factor.
And what you choose to spend more time versus less time on.
Yeah.
You almost have to edit before you shoot in a lot of ways for something like this.
Yeah, yeah. So, there was some stuff that got stronger towards the end, like we talked about. It felt like we were just trying to get to that stuff. And in the future, I would say for a competition like this, if it's a short film and you want to do a whole thing and show off all your various skills, then that's fine. But for something like this, if you're really trying to sell choreography and really kind of make a showing in the competition, I would say just cut out everything but your best stuff, as much as possible.
Eddie Doty?
I mean, part of the problem with saying the last seat is that everybody says exactly what you want to say. But
let's start from him next time and go the other way.
That's fine. But no, I'm certainly not complaining. But the building off of that, I would just say, specifically to the entrant, I would say pare that down to about 40% of your length. And then spend the time that you spent shooting and choreographing all that. Spend that time really just refining and rehearsing and practicing and going over and over and over. And not only that, but questioning. Like, okay, if I'm stepping here, then why would I throw this strike? If I'm stepping here, why would I do this? Why am I throwing knees here? And if I am throwing knees here, where can I put the camera to best sell this? Fight choreography, you're trying to make it look like you guys are fighting to the death without actually hurting each other. So it's a sell. You have to sell it to us. So I would spend more time refining and trying to sell the best parts of your choreography, because there were a couple really good moments in there, as opposed to making something long just for the sake of it being long.
One other thing I'll throw out there, just as advice to everyone who's getting started, and I continue to get a lot of emails, every week, just sort of asking for just general advice on choreography and making fight scenes and stuff like that. And a lot of them are express their frustration in the angles and the way it looks not being what they want or what they envision when they're choreographing. It
doesn't look cool enough?
Which is always hard. That's the case even for everyone,
Yeah.
But one thing, a good exercise to do, even if it's just a very short little bit of choreography that might benefit you guys next time, shoot a bunch of coverage. Do the same little bit of move, but then shoot it from every way you can possibly imagine, even stuff you wouldn't think would look good. Get high, get low, get tight, get far. Move it this way, that way, against the motion, and just really sort of explore the different ways that the camera can look at it and find what works and what doesn't.
That's actually a good rule of thumb to start from in mixing things up, and it's not something that you want to hold to as an ironclad thing.
Again, as an exercise.
Right, but if you're just starting out, something to try to do is try and keep the camera away from being eye level. Put it anywhere. Put it lower, put it higher, put it anywhere else, but that will automatically make it more interesting.
Yeah, not eye level and not square to the action. Like a straight, profile shot.
That Matrix look has shown up a lot this year, actually.
Another
the long square off.
And that's fine if you have really awesome choreography that holds up.
And you've had 9 months of training with the people who made that choreography.
That's when you do it. That's when you stage it like a stage play. That's because you're giving the audience something that they can just watch and appreciate.
Yeah.
If you're trying trying to hide flaws, that's when you start cutting and finding good angles.
I wonder if there's. I'm sorry, Eddie. I wonder if there's an analogy to be made with magic, because
sleight of hand.
It's
Totally, it's misdirection.
It's misdirection. Yeah.
Look over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With magic, you have to make sure the trick works from one angle.
Yeah.
With lightsaber choreography, you don't. You have to make sure it works pretty well, and then find the angle that the audience should be at, so it looks really bitchin'.
Yeah.
I would say, another little exercise you could do is, take any moment of impact, whether it's, strike or lightsaber or whatever, but any moment that you feel looks really cool, have someone walk with the camera just in a slow circle around you, changing elevation, changing angle. Watch that and say, like, okay, this looks horrible, this looks horrible. There, that looks good. Kind of saying what Ryan was saying earlier, but that's a quick exercise you can do, especially if you feel like, if in an early edit, if you feel like you don't know the best way to get to to frame a particular moment.
Yeah, just it's expanding your vocabulary of the kinds of shots you can do. At first, you're going to want to shoot a lot of coverage, and as you get more experienced, you won't, because you'll be like, all right, I know where to put the camera now. Yeah. But if you haven't done a lot of putting the camera in different places, then you're not going to know where to put it. So experiment.
But the ability to do that only comes through experience.
Right.
It only comes
absolutely.
through doing it and screwing it up and going, oh, that was awful. Why did I put the camera there? And finding a new and doing it over
and
over.
thank you for taking the constructive criticism so well, sir.
Yeah.
I know
absolutely.
all of you guys that are entrants, I know these can all sound really harsh, like we're really aping on you.
Yeah, and it's not.
That's not what we're doing.
at all.
And what we've just been talking about, by the way,
We've all done it. That's
is,
the thing.
Yeah, is
We've all been through
largely
it.
a global note as well. We should say it's not just you. We're talking about varying the camera and all that. That's everyone.
We've had
can
those
probably work on
desk
that.
pounding moments at the edit station. I mean, we know you're